Have you ever felt guilty for setting boundaries, especially with someone you love? Like you know you need to, but deep down, you feel like you're doing something wrong? I get it. I've been there. There's an elder in my family, someone that I care about deeply, who's always been there for me. And because of that, I've felt like I should be there for them too. So when I'd visit, I'd help out, I'd cook, I clean, drive them around. I didn't mind at first because I wanted to help. But over time, I started noticing something. It wasn't just occasional favors anymore. It became an expectation. I'd cook, and they casually asked me to bring their dishes to the sink. Then, before I knew it, I was washing them too. And it didn't stop there. They kept asking for more and more, little by little, until I felt drained. I told myself, it's not a big deal. But deep down, I was frustrated. Not just at them, I was frustrated at myself too. Because I knew they were overstepping my boundaries. And I was letting it happen. The worst part, it started making me not want to be around them, even though I loved them. And that's when it hit me. Avoiding boundaries to keep the peace doesn't actually fix anything. It only builds resentment. So today, let's talk about it. Why is it so hard to set boundaries? And how can we do it without feeling guilty? Now, I'm sure many of us can relate to feeling like we're constantly giving, but then eventually resentment or frustration builds up. And here's the thing. This happens when we don't have healthy boundaries. But why does setting boundaries feel so hard? A lot of us struggle with setting boundaries because we feel like we owe people, especially when it's family or loved ones who have helped us in the past. It's like you're afraid that by saying no, you're being ungrateful. But here's the thing. Love and obligation don't have to go hand in hand. You can love someone and still say no when it's needed. And that will be considered guilt and obligation. We also fear creating conflict. We worry about disappointing people, making them feel upset, or even feeling like we're letting them down. But the truth is, those who truly care about us will respect our boundaries. If they don't, that's a sign to reevaluate the relationship. And that will be considered fear of conflict. A lot of the time, we just get used to saying yes to everything. We've been doing it for so long that it feels normal. But the problem is, when we don't set limits, it leads to burnt out and resentment. This will be considered getting used to overextending ourselves. Then we ask, well, why are boundaries so important? They prevent resentment, first and foremost. Sorry, excuse my lighting, the sun is going down. But if we don't set boundaries, we end up feeling frustrated and burnt out. It builds up over time, and eventually we start avoiding the person. Not because we don't care, but because we feel drained. Healthy boundaries stop that cycle. We also set boundaries because we show people how to treat us. If we don't communicate our limits, people can unknowingly take advantage of us. It's not always malicious, I believe, but it's up to us to teach people what we're comfortable with. They protect our peace and mental health. At the end of the day, boundaries protect our well-being. When we're constantly overextending and saying yes, we lose sight of our needs. We have to prioritize ourselves because we can't pour from an empty cup. How to set boundaries without feeling guilty. Step 1. Start small and be clear. Start with small, simple boundaries. Instead of saying yes when you want to say no, try responding with, "I love to help, but I can't do that today. I can do this for you, but I won't be able to do that." The more you practice saying no, the easier it gets, and you won't feel as guilty. Number 2, remind yourself boundaries aren't mean. A lot of people think that setting boundaries makes them a bad person, but it actually makes you a more honest and healthy person. You're not being rude by saying no. You're protecting your mental and emotional space. Step 3, expect resistance. Sometimes people won't like your boundaries, especially if they're used to you saying yes all the time. And that's okay. It doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means they'll need some time to adjust. I want to hear from you. What boundaries have you set in your life that made a difference? Let me know in the comments below. If this video helped, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more tips on personal growth. Take care of yourselves, and remember, you deserve peace and respect in every relationship.